In this episode of Film Stock Reviews, I'm reviewing Season 2, Episode 6 of Only Murders in the Building, titled Performance Review. This is a very, very short episode. I want to say after the beginning recap and the previously on Only Murders in the Building, the show is about 31 to 28 minutes long, this episode, for that matter. And it's really interesting because, of course, after we learn that Oliver might not be Will's father, so he goes to take a DNA test and he's like frantic, he doesn't know what to do. All the while, Charles still is meeting Jan in prison, and Jan still trying to convince him, like, hey, you still like me, we're in a relationship. And Charles is like, no, I don't think we are. So Charles, in a way, kind of breaks it off with Jan through his stunt double. And it's a really funny scene, and it's really done so well. And Jane Lynch as Saz is a really good. Well, she delivers the lines, and she has a brief cameo in this, but it's really great. Now, this episode is really focused on Cinda Canning, played by Tina Fey, who does an episode of her podcast, Only Murderers in the Building, where she talks to someone from Mabel's past who basically said that Mabel cut his fingers and was crazy and a psycho. And all the while it's very heavy on her character, it's also heavy on the assistant, Poppy White. Poppy White's a very underrated character, and she herself is coming into her own, even though we haven't gotten much of a backstory to her. But she's very understanding in the point where she just wants a promotion because she does things better than Cinda Canning does, played by Tina Fey. Now, all this is, Poppy kind of puts Cinda on the spot by getting a promotion, and, Mabel kind of in a way confronts Poppy about it, like, you need to stand your ground. If you want to be a producer, you got to be a producer and not an assistant. And it's really interesting how all that plays out. Now, Michael Rappaport as Detective Krebs is in a scene, and he brings everybody together and says, you need to stop recording and doing these podcasts. We're doing an investigation. This investigation could make me into being a detective. And basically they kind of find out that, they have this matchbook. And on the set of Brazos, Oliver, Charles, and Mabel meet up. And basically they do a thing where they, have to give the matchbook to Detective Williams, and they say, okay, meet us here and there. But then through Detective Krebs, they find out that she's in Denver. So who have they been texting? So they all three come up with a plan to glitter bomb, or somehow this person wanting this matchbook. They put it in a local park open area trash can. They wait and they sit in the car, and it's a really interesting scene between the three characters of this show where they talk about different things and just open up to one another about things of Mabel and Charles and Oliver. It's a really great scene. So this so-called murderer, Bunny's killer, comes, takes the bag, and he or she is glitter bombed by pink glitter. I'm pretty sure it's a he because just the way the stature is. So then that happens. Mabel leaves. She goes back to her apartment, or so to speak, and she finds Alice, Cara Delevingne, recreating Bunny's murder for some odd reason. Mabel doesn't understand. She leaves in a frantic way, and then Poppy calls her, Cinda Canning's assistant, and tells, starting to tell Mabel about Cinda, like how she's not real, she's a liar, she's doing certain things. And while Mabel is on the subway, she spots the killer. The killer is walking toward her, and then while Charles and Oliver are, talking over dip and waiting for the results for the test to come back, the DNA test for Oliver, they get this message, and it's a video of Mabel stabbing the killer, and she walks up, and then that's the end of the episode. It's a really interesting episode. It's in your face episode. It's great. Still a lot of twists and turns happening in this episode. I mean, it's a 10 episode second season, so I mean, what is it? 7, 8, 9, 10. 4 episodes left. And August 23rd, 2022 is the season 2 finale. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, who Bunny's killer is, how everything's connected, who's Alice, why is she doing this to Mabel, and will they start trusting people and other things once again. I mean, it's going to be interesting. And will Jane get out of prison? Uh, what's Oliver? What's that story between Oliver and his son Will and Teddy Demas with the DNA testing? I mean, you know, it's all interesting. It's really picking up. I want to say there have been a couple episodes where have been really really slow going, like the fourth episode of this season. This episode was good, and the previous episode, episode 5, was really good with Martin Short's character Oliver with the tell, figuring out people and and doing all that. So there's a hit and miss in this season with a few episodes, but it's going to be fun to see where things lie now, especially with 4 episodes left, and I can't wait. And let me know in the comment section below what you thought about this episode of Only Murders in the Building. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? Who do you think the killer is? Why did they kill Bunny? What are they hiding? Do you think once again that these 3 will get their name cleared again? Or will Mabel, finally realize that she shouldn't open up to certain people about her past? Will Charles and Jan get back together? And do you think Oliver is actually Will's biological father? A lot to unravel. Let me know in the comment section below about the questions I just asked. And I'll see you all in the next review video. And be sure you tune in next week for my episode 7 review of Only Murders in the Building.